Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to continue our conversation and looking at those properties of logarithms, and now we're going to talk about condensing those logarithms. So the last video had to do with expanding the logarithms, where we just had one log and we expanded it to multiple logs. So condensing is doing just the opposite. We're going to have long logs or more than one log, and we're going to condense them into hopefully one log. So let's do a little bit of review when it came to our properties of logs. Our first property was the power property. And the power property ultimately tells us if we have log log of a raised to the b power, we can rewrite that by bringing that b out to the front, so we would have b log of a. So the same thing would apply. So this would be putting it into the expanded form, and today we're going to condense it. So ultimately we're going to be given this, and we want to get it over into this. The second property was our multiplication property. And our multiplication property states if we have log of a times b, we can expand that into the log of a plus the log of b. And so for today's lesson, ultimately our examples, we're going to be given this expanded form, and we're going to condense it back into one log form. And the third property is the division property. And the division property states if we have log of a divided by b, we can also write that as log a minus log b. So let's look at a couple examples where we are condensing. So example 1, let's say we have 6 log of 2. So hopefully when we look at this one, we can see that it's following that power property. So this 6 can actually come up and be the exponent. So this is the same thing as log 2 raised to the 6th power. We could also write that as log 64, but for our purposes for today, we're just going to leave it the way that it is. So let's try another one. So let's say we wanted to condense log 8 plus log 11. So just as a little refresher, if we don't write that little tiny base in there, we are actually in a base 10 system. So before we can combine these, we always want to make sure that our bases are the same, and our bases are the same. Technically these are base 10s, right? So I have no idea if I can write this little 10 in here. That's a 10. So technically that's a base 10 system, but ultimately a lot of times if it's a base 10, we just don't even put the little 10 in there, right? So if we look at our little problem, hopefully we can, with our addition here, we see that that's following the multiplication property. So we can condense this into one log and write it as log of 8 times 11, which is just going to give us log of 88. All right, let's move on. Let's try example number 3. So let's say we had log 6 minus log 7. So first thing I always check, are my bases the same? Yep, they're both base 10 system. Now I'm going to look at this minus sign, and because this is a difference, I know that this follows the division property, which ultimately states that I can rewrite this as a single log, and it would be log of 6 divided by 7. The first log is going to be your numerator, the second one is going to be your denominator. And we can't simplify 6 over 7, so we're done with that little problem. Oh, let's try a couple more. Let's try example number 4, maybe. So let's say we had log base 7 of 11 plus log base 7 of 2. There we go. So on this one, first thing I'm going to check, are my bases the same? Yep, they're both base 7. And then now I'm going to look at my operator, which is I'm adding these two logs together, which is going to follow my multiplication property. So I can rewrite this as a single log as log base 7, which is going to stay the same, of 11 times 2, which I could just simplify down to log base 7 of 22. Right? What about one last one? Instead of having all numbers in there, let's try and throw some variables in there. So let's say we had log base 2 of x plus log base 2 of y. So again, are my bases the same? Absolutely, they both have a base of 2. So because of my addition in here, I know that it's going to follow the multiplication property. So I'm going to take this expanded log form and write it in a condensed log, which is hopefully only going to be just one log. So I'm going to have log base 2, and then I'm going to multiply these, x times y. Hope this was helpful for you guys, and we're going to continue with logs even into next week. So make sure you're doing some practice on these little problems and continuing with your education. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.